Hi everyone, Casey here with Wellbeing Connections, and I'm excited to have you join us for this recap on our huddle on self-care. So I'm going to share my screen here as we get started. All right. So if this is your first time joining us, you can take a moment to scan our QR code to sign up for our email list or visit us at wellbeingconnections.org for more information on all things Wellbeing Connections and the different services that we provide. So as we get started today, we are going to talk about shifting our perception of self-care. So before we jump into that, we're going to take just a few moments to take a few deep breaths. We're going to bring our pointer fingers to our belly buttons. And as we take an inhale, feeling our belly expand, those fingers are going to draw apart. And as we exhale, those fingers are going to come back together as our belly contracts. Let's take 4 of those breaths here now. Inhale, fingers draw apart, and exhale, fingers draw together. Inhale, fingers apart. Exhale, fingers draw back together. Inhale, fingers draw apart. Exhale, fingers come back together. One more breath. Inhale and exhale. Just an opportunity for us to take that quick pause as we get started today. So as we get started here today, we're going to be talking about self-care and all of the things that come along with it. So what is self-care? Self-care is anything that we do that gives us energy, and it can be talked about from a variety of different perspectives, yet we often find ourselves trying to identify what is the right thing to do. And some of that comes from all of the different noise around us trying to say, do this, do that. But oftentimes we don't always take the time to get to know ourselves, but also identify that self care comes from a variety of different standpoints, thinking about what are the things we're doing to nurture our physical self care, our mental, emotional, and spiritual parts of our self care as well. So, due to our human nature of liking to overcomplicate simple things, self care is something that we can often talk ourselves out of. It's due to many different reasons. Maybe some that resonate with you is I don't like being told what to do, or the benefits of X activity don't outweigh the costs of that activity, whether that's costs like time or resources, different supports or energy, or maybe even my schedule doesn't allow me to do XYZ for self care. So, sure, some of us find that a weekly massage or a tropical vacation might be the thing that fills our well being, or excuse me, our self care buckets. But oftentimes we can look at the moments and in our days and throughout our days and weeks to weave self care in for it to be sustainable for a long period of time. So, let's get into these different benefits that we get from completing regular self care. Now, when we prioritize regular self care, we are intentionally supporting our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well being. This overall helps us maintain a state of calm or more self regulated, which allows us to meet the demands that life throws our way. And we can respond to those experiences versus react. Essentially, when we have energy and are in a calm place, we can respond to the world around us versus feeling like that overwhelm and juggling and just reacting to the things that are coming our way. Now, when we can complete consistent and regular self care actions, it also contributes to our overall resiliency, our ability to have a positive mindset, and overall sense of purpose. This then has a trickle down impact on our environment and allows us to make those meaningful contributions to our own internal environment, what's happening within us, but also then support the well being of those in the environments around us. So, as we get into getting started with this self care, it's important to remember there's no right way to practice self care, but it can be helpful to shift our focus away from one or two big things and think about how we can weave self care into the day to day rhythms and routines of our lives. Now, again, this doesn't mean we have to do the same thing every single day. So now that I've identified, for example, reading books helps me mentally kind of clear my head and get some space. That doesn't mean I have to read every single day. So when we start to break down self-care, it can be helpful to look at it kind of from a variety of different steps. The first step being, what might I like to do? And what part of my well-being does that support? Second, we can kind of look at, when might I be able to add these activities or these types of activities into my routines? When can I set aside time? Do I need to wake up earlier? Do I need to do that at the end of the day? Where in those day-to-day rhythms and routines might this action fit? And then from there, it's important for us to think about sustainability. So, how do we realistically set ourselves up to maintain and sustain these habits in the long term? What adjustments might we need to make? Who might I need to reach out for help and support from? And what are some of those barriers that might come up as I start to embark on this journey of creating a self care plan for me? For example, one thing that might be self care for you from kind of a physical well being standpoint might be going on a walk. So we know that the what is, or the action is going on a walk. And then it's asking yourself, what part of your well being is that nurturing? Is it maybe the physical, getting some movement in? Is it spiritual or mental by clearing your head or connecting with a higher power? Is it emotional because it allows you to process through the various experiences that you've had that day? From then, you can identify the when. When am I going to fit this walk in? Does it work for me to start my day with a walk? Is it a lunchtime? Do it at the end of the day? Or are there other transition periods throughout your individual day, days, weeks, what have you, where this walk could fit in? And then from there, what do we need to be successful? How do I want to do this? Do I need shoes? Where am I going to walk? What do I need to be aware of to be successful at this? Again, in this example, going on a walk for my self-care. Now, again, there's many examples of self-care and what we might do to nurture our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being, whether that's connecting with friends and family, reading books, listening to music, intentionally setting time aside to breathe and connect with our mind and body, or even stretching to notice how that body feels. So I will invite you to get curious and explore. How might you like your body and mind to feel as you move throughout your days and weeks? What types of things are you doing that currently contribute to feeling this way? What, if anything, might you like to change about your current self care habits? And then from there, I invite you to get curious and explore. What might you like to try? What is a self care activity that has always intrigued you from the beginning? What might you like to explore or practice? What tools or support might you need? Do you want to pick up a pickleball habit? Who do you know that maybe plays pickleball, or where might you be able to play pickleball at? What tools or support might you need? Do you need equipment, a paddle, some balls? Do you need something called the kitchen? I'm not sure. I'm a pickleball rookie over here. Um, and then what does success look like to you? How might you measure it or track it? And then as you're really sitting with those questions, I invite you to get a little bit more specific. So, what does that self care action look like? What in that nitty gritty version might you need to do to get even more granular, get it as clear and concise as you can? This way, you'll allow yourself to know, yes, this is something that I want to keep doing. No, here's some changes I'd like to make. Or maybe I want to explore a new thing to nurture my self care for my overall well being. So, as we wrap up our session here, I invite you to get curious and think, what might I like to do for my self-care? And what parts of well-being are those self-care actions nurturing? And am I missing something to maybe support my mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual well-being? So, after these last 5 or so minutes, I invite you to consider, what's one thing you are taking away from watching this video and reflecting on your current self care. As you're pausing, I invite you to visit our website with any questions and for more information. Otherwise, you can shoot us an email at admin@wellbeingconnections.org. That's admin@wellbeingconnections.org. All the best.